Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States.
We have been given a gift by God today to usher in a new dynasty.
Now you get RFK Jr.
Don't you want a president who's going to make America healthy again?
You get Tulsi Gabbard.
Putting our country in a continual state of war.
You get Elon Musk and you get J.D. Vance.
A hell of a way to start the next 4 years.
The right-wing Avengers.
We have an army of digital soldiers.
Department of Defense under Donald Trump will achieve peace through strength.
Shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one.
The rescission of 78 Biden-era executive actions, executive orders, presidential memoranda, and others.
The golden age of America has most definitely begun.
Begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay.
They're getting the dirtbags off these streets.
There's one guy who can fix this shit, and it's Donald Trump.
What's storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
There I am. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My name is Josh, and welcome to the Red Pill Project's Daily Dose, live with you Monday through Friday. I hope everybody is doing well there. Give me a quick audio check, because I have to set everything back up when I come back from traveling. So make sure that you guys can hear me, that the mic is like decent, and you can see me and all that stuff. If I can get thumbs ups and all that, great. Yep, Gart this last weekend had a blast. It was an amazing time. I'm not seeing any confirmation, so I guess I'm going to have to check myself. Let me do this real quick. 5-5. Okay, we're getting 5-5s across the board. Great. Yep, so I was at the Great American Restoration Tour this last weekend. It was a blast. I had an amazing time with a lot of amazing people. Met all great Badlanders, Red Pillers. We're all becoming one family here. As well as I met some great people over at Badlands Media that I've been working with, and I got to meet them, a lot of them finally in person. And I got to meet General Steve Quast. That was well worth it. I'll tell you that much. So glad to have met him, and hopefully we're going to get him on the show here relatively soon, which will be amazing because I'm looking forward to that interview. It is Monday, November 10th. Happy birthday, Devil Dogs. Happy birthday, Devil Dogs. United States Marine Corps, 250 years. Tomorrow is a Veterans Day. And definitely looking forward to that. And my hand salute to all the veterans out there. And listen, it's a lot of things happening in the world. There's a lot of drama going on in the world. And I will be making some comments on some of this stuff later this week. I'm not going to be doing that tonight, later this week. And just putting that out there. I know there were some things said about me on another podcast, which, by the way, that podcast, I still like those people. I've never said any bad things about them, and I still have nothing bad to say about them. So it kind of blew my mind that they would say something like that against me. But anyways, I'm not here for drama. I'm here because this is about the information. This is about news. This is about what's happening in the world. This is about taking back the United States of America. This is about saving our country and progressing humanity forward towards the golden age, right? So let's jump into that and let's see what we can find happened here over the last few days. Because I know I've been gone since like Wednesday, and I hope that Tammy and Jason filled in very well for me. If Tammy and Jason did a good job, let's get some thumbs up out there. Show me those thumbs up. I want to ensure that they did a great job. I know they did a good job. I had people texting me like, dude, you don't need to come back. We like Tammy and Jason. They're awesome. So it was kind of funny. We'll start right here. We're actually going to go back the stuff that I couldn't cover last week, but I think is relevant and important. So Donald Trump, after Mondani won, and maybe I did cover this last week, but it's the name of the show, so we're just going to cover it again. Donald Trump, after Mondani had won the election, and so it begins. But look at it. Look at it. You got to look further. ... ANDSOITBGINS exclamation point. 7 17 characters. And so it begins. What else do we got here? Well, that correlates directly to a Q post on a timestamp. 17 characters, timestamp 2334. It's the creation of the statement from the president on the national strategy for counterterrorism. As your president, I'm committed to protecting the United States and its interests abroad from the threat of terrorism. The national strategy for counterterrorism that I approved today, this is back in 2018, will help protect our great nation, enhance our national security, and guide our continued effort to defeat terrorists and terrorist organizations that threaten the United States. Under my leadership, the United States has accelerated efforts to defeat terrorists. Working with coalition partners, we have decimated ISIS in Syria and Iraq. Likewise, I ended the United States' participation in the horrible Iran deal, which had provided a windfall for the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and its proxies, funding Iran's malign activities throughout the world. Importantly, I have also secured historic increases in defense funding to rebuild our nation's military. Now, you'd think that he's saying this right now because he is. This is what the comms are about. You know, Mamdani, who, by the way, is backed by Soros money, and what we are getting indications now is of foreign money, is Muslim, which, hey, not all Muslims are bad, but we have to understand, but we're talking about the MB infiltration of the United States of America, that these foreign donations could have significant ties to, we know that we had Linda Sansour out there talking about how CARE, one of the largest Muslim organizations here in the United States that has direct ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, funded Mamdani, and then Donald Trump says, and so it begins with a timestamp going directly to this document. I don't think that that's a coincidence. The National Strategy for Counterterrorism is an important next step. It outlines an approach of the United States encountering the increasingly complex and evolving terrorist threats that represents the nation's first fully articulated counterterrorism strategy since 2011. It provides the strategic guidance needed to protect the United States against all terrorist threats while simultaneously fostering the agility to anticipate, prevent, and respond to new threats. So that was the timestamp for that. So 17 characters, and so it begins, name of the show, and so it begins, goes to that timestamp. And then what else do we get? What else do we get? So, and so it begins, how do you, okay, so if you search and so it begins, it goes to the Q post, and so it begins. How do you start a war? Markers matter. Playbook fail. Now, markers matter is important there because the day that he posted this was 11/4. The two markers, 11/3 and 11/4. That's crazy. Also an election day. Why does that matter? You go to post 4587, C19 narrative kill date, election day +1. The day that he posted this was election day +1. Prepare for a 0-day massive cyber power attacks attempted on 11/4. Talking about 11/4 there. Begins tomorrow, November 5th, protests in D.C., which, by the way, were curved, never happened. Now we're hearing they're going to have new protests in another week on the 20th. That's not going to happen. But wait, there's more. The White House posted at 21:38, and this was actually shown on stage at Mamdani. Okay? Trump is your president. And so, why does this matter? Posted at 21:38. Battle stations ready. Where we go when we go all. We are with you. Where we are with you. Where we go when we go all is the timestamp for 21:38. This is when it was posted. Trump is your president. So all hitting back to it. So Scavino, and I had one from Scavino here. Go get them. And he's talking to the Rook Isaacman, talking about Jared Isaacman, who became the NASA nominated again for the NASA director position. And so this timestamp, we go in and look at this, is 22:55. Think playbook. Think New York Times article. Panic. Clockwork. Q. You have 22:49 above, which references playbook fail. And here in 22:55, another reference to playbook. Both posts are board searches on exact wordings for Trump and Scavino's, and so it begins, and go get them. Direct coordinated communications, which is mind-blowing, incredible in every way. So then over the last few days, we've been getting these other subtle hints that something is coming. Donald Trump posted this banger the other day. My fellow Americans. Yeah, oh yeah. My fellow Americans. Our movement is far from over. In fact, our fight has only just begun. So you get, and so it begins. And then this banger, my fellow Americans. And that reminds us of post 55. My fellow Americans, right? But wait, hold on a second. He posted that one a few days ago. So we know DHS, DOD, or DOW, all of these accounts have been posting crazy videos that are interesting, to say the least. Well, this one was posted yesterday. Check this shit out. Bigfoot. This is where it gets interesting. Towards the end, you get right there. Did you see it? Did you see it? Right at 34 seconds. My computer's acting funny on that. But the full picture actually comes in the view at 34 seconds on a phone. So on a phone, this is 34 seconds. That's Trump inside of the queue. Trump inside of the queue. Well, that's kind of crazy. 34, Q34, Q clearance patriot. My fellow Americans. Over the course of the next several days, you will undoubtedly realize that we are taking back our great country, the land of the free, from the evil tyrants that wish to do us harm and destroy the last reigning refuge of shining light. On POTUS order, we have initiated certain fail-safes, devolution, that safeguard the public from the primary fallout, which is slated to occur 11/3, confirmation 11/4. So interesting. I love this because it just all falls together. And yes, there it is right there. And that was the timestamp on your phone at 34 seconds. And that's Trump inside of the queue. So something is going on here. And if we look at what's already happening this week, if we look at what's already happening this week, we begin to see indications. Now, a few warnings to heed. And this is one that I agree with 100%. I'm not going to play this whole clip. This is General Flynn on Alex Jones. This is 35 minutes. But let's go into this and just listen to General Flynn for a second.
Is sort of the body of America, and those vulnerabilities are, in some cases, our inability to respond to chaos and complex operations. And if they're trained in complex operations, which they are, small teams, small elements, dispersed, in a wide pattern all over the United States of America, which we know. You mentioned one of the criminal elements earlier, but you have the TDA, you've got the MS-13, you've got elements of Islam, radical Islam in here, like Hamas and Hezbollah. I mean, these are this axis of resistance that's already inside of our country. I mean, this is not me making this shit up, Alex. All the stuff, get the government going, the economy, all these different, all the noise that's out there, it's all utterly meaningless if we don't reestablish trust, we don't fix our elections, and we don't get to the bottom of the deep state and start indicting people and arresting people. I mean, these indictments on Brennan or subpoenas for Brennan and Strzok and Page, that's noise. And when is that going to happen? Is that going to happen today? Is that going to happen tomorrow? Is it going to happen next week? I mean, every single day.
Okay. But what was Flynn saying? He was saying, watch out. You have gangs and cartels inside your country. You have terrorist organizations inside our country. We know them. ISIS, Taliban, you have Al-Qaeda, you have Hezbollah, Unit 910, Houthis, Hamas. We know they came up from Venezuela. Well, for fuck's sake, this is what I've been saying for 5 years. If you've been listening to this show for any time, you know darn well that I've talked about something called the Firestorm event. And this is the exact scenario that we talked about when we discussed the Firestorm event. We've been talking about it since November of 2020. I remember it came out, is that they will never give up power and control. They will scorch this earth before they ever do. And then I said, how would they do that? They're going to do it with a firestorm type of event. What's a firestorm type event? Social, cultural destabilization, political and institutional infiltration, collapse of the supply chain and attacks on infrastructure, global economic collapse in World War III. And how do they bring about that societal collapse? They bring it about through color revolution. They do it through an infiltration in our country. They take over the blue cities. They rise up. They do dangerous riots, and they activate sleeper cells at the same times that you have police and National Guard resources distributed across that city, taking care of all of the violence coming about from riots. And at that point in time, you have active shooter situations of military trained personnel from the Middle East, Northern African militia groups, go out there and begin to take over government command and control and critical infrastructure. I've been saying this for years, and now you have people like General Flynn out there saying the same damn thing that I'm saying. You have Alexis Wilkins, Kash Patel's girlfriend. I don't know why she's saying, but for fuck, she's saying it. She's going on Jesse Waters or Hannity, whoever the hell she was on, and she's saying, well, there's sleeper cells in this country. No shit. Tom Homan's team since March has been working with an military intelligence attachment, most likely tier 1 operators that have been going around collecting active intelligence, human intelligence on these groups. This is why they're going after the low-hanging fruit, to identify who these people are. And it's coming to the top, man. It's happening, because we're about to see massive rounds of indictments. We're going to get into the subpoenas and stuff like that here in a minute. Going back to General Flynn, and I know some of you don't like General Flynn, and you know what? Listen, I've been in this movement long enough to understand a patriot versus a not patriot. And I'll tell you, this man right here, I think you got the wrong impression of him. Just my thoughts. I got all the receipts to back it up. Debate anybody on this topic. But you got to figure it out for yourself. That's the important thing. Never believe anything I say. Never believe anything anybody says. Use discernment. Use your own research, your own investigation, your own inquiry. If someone tells you something, don't just believe it. Go out there. Get the as much of the story as you humanly possibly can to put it together before you make an assumption of belief. And that goes for everything in life. Like all this drama shit that's going on in my life right now. Don't take someone else's word for it. Don't take my word for it. Get both sides of the story. See all the receipts and evidence, which you're gonna. You're absolutely going to. About that. Anyways, we'll talk about that later. General Flynn right here on X. Let's listen. I'll read this one for you because I know you guys love it when I read these posts. He says here, the biggest enemies America's faced, bar none, are not enemies over there or enemies outside of our contiguous borders. No. The biggest enemy we face is right here within our own government. You cannot give grace to someone who wants to destroy our way of life. If there is no indication of accountability, and there doesn't appear to be any, the American people who voted for the tearing apart of the so-called deep state will start feeling betrayed and powerless. Spot on right. We have our champion in the White House, Donald Trump. We now need those around him to start moving at his speed and operating on his timeline. Every day that goes by is a loss of momentum. Without accountability, there can be no reconciliation. There can be no true unifying of our nation. Many people feel the government for many years has let us down. It was Abraham Lincoln that said, "At what point shall we expect the approach of danger? By what means shall we fortify against it? Shall we expect some transatlantic military giant to step the ocean and crush us at a blow? Never. All the armies of Europe, Asia, and Africa combined, with all the treasure of the earth from our own expected in their military chest, with the Bonaparte for the commander, could not by force take a drink from the Ohio or make a track on the Blue Ridge in a trial of 1,000 years. At what point, then, is the approach of danger to be expected? I answer, if it ever reaches us, it must spring up amongst us. It cannot come from abroad. If destruction be our lot, we must ourselves be its author and finisher. As a nation of free men, we must live through all time or die by suicide. I hope I am over worry. But if the feeling of our best citizens becomes alienated from our government, we will find ourselves in trouble. How then shall we fortify against it? The answer is simple. Let every American, every lover of liberty, every well-wisher to his prosperity swear by the blood of the American Revolution, never to violate in the least particular the laws of the country, and never to tolerate their violation by others. As the patriots of 1776 did to support of the Declaration of Independence, so too the support of the Constitution and laws. Let every American pledge his life, his property, his sacred honor. Let every man remember to violate. Let every man remember that to violate the law is to trample on the blood of his father and to tear the character of his own and his children's liberty. Let reverence be for the laws be breathed by every American mother to the lisping babe that prattles on her lap. Let it be taught in schools, in seminaries, and in colleges. Let it be written in primers, spelling books, and almanacs. Let it be preached from the pulpit, proclaimed in legislative halls, and enforced in the courts of justice. And in short, let it become the political religion of the nation. and let that old and the young, the rich and the poor, the grave and the gay, of all sexes and tongues, in all colors and conditions, sacrifice unceasingly upon its altars. Lincoln was only 28 years old when he spoke these words circa 1938. Where are the Lincolns of our time who would willingly speak today about the trials of our future? Courage only becomes contagious when a leader makes the bold and fearless decision to be courageous. Make decision today for the good of our nation. As a veteran, I willingly stand shoulder to shoulder with all those believers who recognize our need to protect our way of life. Psalms 23:24. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I'll fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. It's almost like they're preparing us for something, huh? It's almost like the comms are telling us it's begun. The ball is rolling and there's nothing stopping the momentum now. It is happening. They're going to fight back. And you remember, we talked about the keystone, whether it's on Q After Hours, DEF CON, or the Daily Dose. Military intelligence, POTUS, the people. The people are the key part of this. If you listen to anything I said at GART this weekend, a lot of it was about us, you, me, action. You know, there was a panel that was talked about this last weekend. It was toxic unity. And I sat down and I listened to this whole panel. It was fascinating. You had BB Burning Bright and John up there. And I think that Chris Paul and CanCon. I think CanCon was the other one up there. And it was a great panel. And John Harold asked a question. He said, why are we waking? Why do we have to wake more people up? I don't get it. What's the point of waking more people up? We got people awake now. And he's right, because here's the thing. The movement now is not about waking people up. It's not about waking up the lefties, even though I do believe that there's psyops going on that are waking up the lefties, at least the ones that we can wake up, the moderates, the independents that are still voting Democrat because they believe in the illusion of the two-way system. They believe that politics is still this kind of vanilla neutrality that isn't weaponized, right? But John was right. And here was I wanted to stand up and say something, but just I was hungover. But but here's the point. What this is about right now is action. It's about action. See, the Trump administration is saying some weird shit right now. 50-year mortgages, 15-year car loans. What? But where's the outrage from MAGA? Where is MAGA? This is what you see. You see top conservative influencers going, Trump is going to revitalize mortgages to help the inflow of new homeowners and help people get into houses with 50-year mortgages. This is amazing. They're showing you. Do I really think they're trying to go for 50-year mortgages? I think they'll go for it if you don't say anything about it. But they're giving you the opportunity right now to stand up and say, are you fucking crazy? 50 years of slavery? I don't want 30-year mortgages, let alone 50-year mortgages. I don't want a 15-year car loan. That's absurd. There's so many better methodologies. And they're probably sitting there going, let us know. You have to be outraged. You have to stand up. You have to take action. You have to speak out. And then give us your solutions. Because, see, the founding fathers understood this. That a government that governs less is a government that governs best. So how does a government this size, a country this size, how does the government govern less? When the people rise up in action and demand change. When the people rise up and say, over my dead body and my guns will you ever make a 50-year mortgage. Instead, this is what we want. Instead, what we want is we want benefits for mothers and fathers of new infants, for them to open up, very low interest rate accounts for their children at birth. So at 30 years of age, they can hand that asset tax-free directly to their children, and the house is already paid for. Like something like that. I don't know how they're going to do it. I got lots of great ideas on this. I know all of you got great ideas on this. But John Kidd just said it best. MAGA is silent. That's the problem. This is what Flynn's talking about. This is what Trump's talking about. Hey, we're going into this. The storm is coming. The fight's coming. Are you ready? And Trump is like, how about 50-year mortgages? And people are like, yeah. No, that's not the point. The point is if this is a government for the people, of the people, and by the people, then let it be so. Let's make it so. We have our champion in the White House, Donald Trump, and he's listening to us. If we stand up and protest, if we go out there and millions upon millions of people are sending letters to the White House, sending letters to the congressmen and their senators, posting on social media to where it's going viral, guess what they do? Guess that wasn't a good idea. We're not going to do that. How about this? We open up an open forum and we bring in solutions. That's what will happen. But we have to demand it as people, because a government that governs less is the one that governs best. And how does that work? It happens when only the people take action within the government. And yes, that does mean go and get involved locally, going and get involved in the state level. Absolutely. But it also means keeping that government in Washington, D.C. in check. That right now we are in a trial basis period. Do the people of the United States of America want their country back, or do they just want someone that makes them feel good inside the White House? That's where we're at right now. And Donald Trump is sitting there going, knock, knock, wake up, Neo. What do you want? Do you want 50-year mortgages? Because I'll absolutely go out there and put it out there. Or are you going to stand up and put your foot down and say, no, because this government, how it runs, is by us. We hold the power. We have to take that power back. It is about the power. It is about us being that primary force that produces the change that government brings about holding our congressional and Senate representatives accountable for their actions. The government's been shut down for 30 days. And how many letters have Republicans or Democrats sent to their congressmen and senators? I've seen nothing. No petitions. No fucking calls to action on any of this. See, this is the illusion. This is the sickness that Americans have gotten themselves in over the last 60 years, is that my duty is to vote, and I voted. Now I'm going to let that person do the duty that I authorized him to do, and whatever he does, I'm going to agree with it because I'm just a party player. That's the illusion. That's not true. That's fake. See, when you vote for that person, you're saying, hey, I'm putting my power in your court. But if you abuse my power, I'm coming after you, motherfucker. I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to be knocking on your door in the middle of the night. I'm going to be down in Washington, D.C. at your office, and I'm going to be walking in there, and I'm going to hold you accountable, and I'm going to put you on video, and I'm going to put you on social media feeds. I'm going to make you viral. And that's what we should all be doing. Because that's what the Trump administration is testing us with right now. They are seeing, are you ready? Because it has begun. Are you ready? Here's another one. I love it. I love it. This just flows right in together, right? Here you go. Donald Trump posts this on his True Social. Okay? Wow. Breaking. Doge halts yearly payments to $2.5 million to Barack Obama for royalties linked to Obamacare. Obama has collected this payment since 2010, a total of $40 million in taxpayer dollars. This meme is fake. This meme is not true. It is absolutely satire and bullshit. And Donald Trump posted it. Do you think that Donald Trump knew that when he posted it? But how many people took a copy of that meme, went out there, reposted it? How many people went out there and were like, I knew it. Barack Obama is corrupt beyond anything. Instead of fact checking it. Hey, that doesn't sound right. I think I would have heard of this over the last decade or two. That makes no sense. Doge never reported that. We would have heard that from Doge. We need to critically think when we see these things. That's Trump is telling us, wake up. But see, if you did begin to research this, if you did begin to look into this, you start to uncover something else. You start to see the truth. So he posts this soon after. And this is where it begins to get good. He goes, I'm recommending to Senate Republicans that the hundreds of billions of dollars currently being sent to money-sucking insurance companies in order to save the bad health care provided by Obamacare be sent directly to the people so that they can purchase their own much better health care and have money left over. In other words, take from the big, bad insurance companies, give it to the people, and terminate per dollar spent the worst health care anywhere in the world, Obamacare, unrelated. We must still terminate the filibuster. And I agree with that. And I'm going to just play a few minutes of Promethean Action exposing in this and actually talking about this topic, because she absolutely nails it here. It's 17 minutes long. We're only going to play a little bit of it.
President Trump did something absolutely brilliant this weekend. His weapon? A series of Truth Social posts that completely changed the government shutdown narrative. And I'm going to show you exactly how he did it, starting with Senator Mark Wayne Mullen discussing it yesterday.
The president said this morning, I'm recommending to Senate Republicans that the hundreds of billions of dollars currently being sent to money-sucking insurance companies in order to save the bad health care provided by Obamacare be sent directly to the people so they can purchase their own much better health care and have money left over.
Absolutely brilliant move by the president, and I agree with him 100%. These insurance companies, we're subsidizing them to have high health premiums anyways. Keep in mind, ACA, affordable.
What?
Been affordable. President Obama said it was going to drop premiums by 25%. As we sit here right now, without the premium increase that the healthcare industry is putting on the American people, it's up 221%. And why are we subsidizing them an additional 4% when they're making record profits? Which I'm a capitalist. I'm okay with insurance companies making money, but taxpayers shouldn't pad their pockets even more on top of that. What President Trump is saying is, hey, let's give the money to the individual and let them choose their own health care and use the money for actual health care rather making insurance companies even more profitable. I think it's brilliant.
Now, if you've been watching the mainstream media, you'd think the Republican Party is, quote, in a new civil war. They're claiming the ultimate battle came when Tucker Carlson interviewed Nick Fuentes. Every major media outlet pushed that talking point Saturday. But here's what they're not telling you. The Republican Party has been in a civil war ever since Donald Trump walked down the escalator in 2015. It's between rhinos and the new Republican Party. This isn't news. What is news is that Trump just exposed the biggest lie Democrats have been selling for weeks, that we're protecting the little guy by holding out for Obamacare subsidies in the shutdown. I'm Barbara Boyd, and I've been studying American system economics, the economic framework Trump is using, since we rediscovered these ideas in the 1970s. I've also reported extensively on the British instigated coup against President Trump since it began in 2016. Today, I'm going to report on two interrelated stories. First, how Trump's economic offensive this weekend kicked senators and congressmen into line to fight for the policies you voted for in November. And second, I'm giving you a major update on the fight against the deep state.
Now, you can go watch this. Barbara does a great job of explaining it, but I need to move on to the show because I got a shit ton of news to get to. He exposed how Obamacare subsidies pad insurance companies' profits by over 230%, and they do not help Americans. Federal grand jury is finally going after the real, and then we know the federal grand jury is going after the real Russiagate conspirators. So that story is not, okay, that's the one I wanted to bring up. Okay. So Trump posted this meme that's fake, right? But then we have Promethean Action talking about how the shutdown was really about funding ACA, right? But that's just subsidies that go to the billion-dollar insurance companies. Oh. The Obama administration, this is from the SCIF, the Intel SCIF. The Obama administration was making so many unauthorized payments to private insurance companies participating in Obamacare that they couldn't even keep up to cover their own tracks. A government watchdog has determined that the Obama administration is violating its own healthcare law by illegally diverting up to $5 billion of private insurance companies participating in Obamacare. The U.S. Government Accountability Office is a nonpartisan federal watchdog that determines whether federal officials are spending taxpayer dollars in accordance with law. In a legal opinion issued last week, the GAO accused the Obama administration of illegally diverting billions of dollars of taxpayers' dollars to private insurance companies. The opinion concerned the Obama administration's implementation of Obamacare's reinsurance program, one of the several insurer bailouts designed to prop up Obamacare's rickety finances. Generally speaking, the reinsurance program taxes consumers in non-Obamacare plans to subsidize insurers who sell Obamacare plans. The program collects $25 billion from consumers, with $20 billion going to Obamacare participating insurers and $5 billion to the federal treasury. The law is specific. The amount that each health insurance issuer pays towards the $5 billion designated for the U.S. Treasury may not be used for the reinsurance program. But once insurance companies participating in Obamacare's exchange started suffering huge losses and heading for the exits, the administration began funneling them money that was supposed to go to the Treasury. The administration has so far diverted $3 billion and counting. The administration was making so many unauthorized payments to the insurance companies participating in Obamacare that it's hard to keep them straight. Both the administration and the Supreme Court acknowledged that the operative text of the Affordable Care Act forbids certain payments to insurers participating in federally run exchanges. The administration is paying tens of billions of dollars to such insurers because it was able to convince the court to bless those payments anyways. It is making payments to insurers on behalf of exchange enrollees who are categorically ineligible for subsidies because they have incomes below the poverty line. It is paying insurers tens of billions of dollars in illegal cost-sharing payments that the federal judge ruled violates the Constitution. It is attempting to skirt a congressional ban on $2.5 billion in risk corridor payments to insurers that President Obama himself signed into law. It is even making illegal payments to insurance companies on behalf of members of Congress and their staff, giving Congress its own special exemption of Obamacare. Consistent with past practices, the Obama administration is thumping its own nose on nonpartisan GAO by announcing it will continue to divert these taxpayer funds to insurance companies. So this is at the beginning. I think this is 2013, 2014. If the rule of law means anything, is that the government is bound by laws, as are the people. If the people come to believe that the government is not, they rightfully conclude neither they do. So, in other words, what we've had occur since the Obama administration is a diverting of U.S. taxpayer funds directly to large insurance companies as subsidies. This is what makes the Affordable Care Act affordable, is recompensating with taxpayer dollars the insurance companies. This is what Donald Trump's talking about. So when Donald Trump goes out there and says that Barack Obama is receiving money from this, Barack Obama is not receiving government funds from this. But do you think that the insurance companies maybe gave a kickback to Barack Obama in some way, shape, or form? It's about optics, people. He puts something out there that's blatantly fake like that to bring your attention to something, to make you look, observe, and see if you will investigate, see if you will look into it, to get the people to produce action. And when they discover it, oh my God, this was happening? Now you become outraged. Now you demand change in the system. Now you stand up arm to arm with other people. And other people take notice and they say, what are they all standing arm to arm ago? And they go out there. They realize the truth. And oh, shit, now they're arm to arm with you. That's how change happens in this country. And it's one thing, I will say for this for certain, it is one thing the Democrats do way better than the Republican Party. Way better. Instead, what you get is Republican Party just going out there like, oh my God, Donald Trump posted this meme. Crazy. What else do we got? Okay, we can get into the fun stuff now. Donald Trump. Love it. The top people in the BBC, including Tim Davie, the boss, are all quitting or fired because they were caught doctoring my very good, perfect speech of January 6th. Thank you to the Telegraph for exposing these corrupt journalists. They are very dishonest people who try to step on the scales of the presidential election. On top of everything else, they are from a foreign country, one that many consider our number one ally. What a terrible thing for democracy. And so this post is by Liz Truss, former prime minister, and she says, I'm glad the U.S. president and the rest of the world are seeing the BBC for what it is. Its failure to tell the truth on everything from transgender ideology to economics, to Gaza has done huge damage to politics and government in this country. This should be the end of nationalized broadcasting. In other words, what Liz Truss just said right there. BBC for what it is, nationalized broadcasting, go back to Promethean, MI6, foreign intelligence agency controlled. Beginning to see the bigger picture of why. So these are the connections that we have to make. These are the things that we have to look at. When we see Donald Trump post, there's more to the story than meets the eyes. We have to go out there and we have to look at it fully in full circle to bring it all around. And sometimes it takes time to see it all. Oh, God, I love this one. This is broke this weekend. Documents obtained by Judicial Watch through the Freedom of Information Act confirmed that the CIA, including CIA bomb tech teams, were deployed to the Capitol on January 6th. In other words, the Capitol police officer, Shawnee Kirkhoff, who planted the pipe bomb on J6, has been working with the CIA since 2021. Listen to Tom Fitton here.
I'm Judicial Watch to the program. Hey, Tom, how are you?
Glenn, good to be with you. Thank you for having me on.
So I'm reading this story today, and I'm like, what am I missing here? The CIA, according to records now that you FOIA'd, the CIA deployed bomb techs, dog teams, and personnel to Washington, D.C. on January 6th. But they're not allowed to do that, are they?
I don't know. I wouldn't think so.
You wouldn't think so. Yeah.
You know, what's weird about this is that we didn't get it from the CIA. We got it from the ATF. So we asked for records, right? And they sent us, well, first of all, they didn't give us anything, so we had to sue in federal court. So that's almost a year ago now. And then we get this batch of records showing these text messages from ATF people saying they had bomb tech teams with them over at that site where the pipe bombs were. I think it was, I'm not sure if it was.
So wait a minute. We find out. So Kyle Seraphin here. I'll pull up Kyle. Let me go through a few of these because we're going to get into all of the J6 pipe bomb stuff. So Steve Baker, who is the one who uncovered this. This might just be the biggest scandal and conspiracy in American history. Many heroes were involved in bringing this to light. Some we can name in coming days. Some who want no recognition. And there's much more yet to be told. And so this is how they identified the J6 pipe bomber. And this is Steve Baker with Glenn Beck's team, investigative reporter for The Blaze, who's the one that broke the story. Kyle Seraphin says, the woman who testified in court about J6, who worked for the Congressional Praetorian Guard, who somehow passed a CIA polygraph despite having left pipe bombs around Washington, D.C. on January 5th, has been able to elude a $11 billion investigation agency, which offered a $500,000 reward for 5 years. In other words, they covered it up. But here's the other key part about that. That's actually going to go to the wrong thing. Stop sharing. Okay. You know what's interesting about all that? So she was a member of the Capitol Police working in the House of Representatives. What happens when they find out who she had direct communication with? Isn't it interesting that Nancy Pelosi announces her retirement the day before this story broke? What if there was communications between the Capitol Police and Nancy Pelosi or other congressional members or anybody in the DNC that is preserved on a laptop? Let's just say that laptop on January 6th just happened to disappear. Like Nancy Pelosi's laptop. I wonder who's in possession of that. I bet it's the FBI now. So we get the identity of J6 pipe bomber, which once you realize who she is and who she's connected to, it starts to all make sense. That the U.S. intelligence apparatus colluded with the Democrat National Committee and congressional Democrats and Capitol Police to manufacture January 6th. Talk about fucking treason. But wait, it gets better. Actually, I think I had a few other things on J6. Hold on. Let me see. I don't have it right up here. We'll cover it when we come across it. But Let's listen to this short little broadcast, because everything is happening right now in the Southern District of Florida with Quinones, the attorney Quinones, who's leading the grand jury there. And things are ramping up. Listen to this.
Breaking news out of the Southern District of Florida. MSNBC has just learned that 2 prosecutors there who were asked to take part into a vast conspiracy investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election have now resigned. A source familiar with the internal concerns among career prosecutors tells MSNBC that U.S. Attorney Jason Redding Quinones called a rare division-wide meeting this afternoon over the resignations. Joining us now, MSNBC senior White House reporter Vaughn Hilliard and MSNBC senior legal reporter Lisa Rubin. Vaughn, I read through the piece. It's hard to follow in places because there's so many different things going on. Can you try to untangle it for us and simplify what exactly is at concern here in Florida?
Right. We must start with the basis here, that there is this vast conspiracy that Trump administration officials have alleged that former intelligence and law enforcement officials during the Obama and Biden administrations undertook to undermine the candidacies and presidencies of Donald Trump. That is the baseline for this here. And late on Friday, we reported that at least 30 subpoenas were sent out by the Southern District of Florida U.S. Attorney to people like John Brennan and former FBI officials Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. And now, along with our White House colleague, Laura Barone Lopez, and myself, we are reporting here that there are 2 junior U.S. attorneys who have since resigned from the Southern District of Florida after being asked to be a part of this investigation. I am told that one of the individuals who resigned, quote, felt like there was something they could not take part in because it would violate their ethical responsibilities.
Yeah, they were fired. See, our system is heavily infiltrated. It's not just infiltrated in the streets, in the city streets. It's infiltrated in government. And so you're going to see a lot more people resigning in disgust. Oh, how dare them go after John Brennan. How dare them go after James Comey. This is weaponization of the government. Let me ask you this. Why didn't those same people resign when the Southern District of Florida was going after Donald Trump for Mar-a-Lago? Why didn't they resign when the weaponization of the DOJ under the Biden administration was going after Donald Trump? Something doesn't seem like the other. So the DOJ is now sending out grand jury subpoenas in Florida regarding the investigation in the John Brennan and many, many others. So a few weeks ago, we saw John Bolton indicted. John Solomon had a lot to say about this. This is where it gets interesting. You remember, I'm going to state it again. This whole Q operation prior to 2017 started because of the selling of special access programs, military technology, weapons programs that were being leaked out by the Obama administration, by people in the military, by people high up in government. Telling you, that's what started all of this. Listen to John Solomon right here.
They said Comey's a victim, and then you read his emails and you realize he's not a victim. He actually admitted in his own emails he was sanctioning someone talking to the media contrary to what he told Congress. I think when the Democrats see the full Monty of evidence that's put together here, and I think the Justice Department and the FBI have assembled it, now they're starting to act on it. They're going to look at everything from 2014 to 2024 as one ongoing conspiracy. And you say, well, that's crazy, John. There are like 7 different scandals. Well, it's Jack Smith talking to the IRS and Lois Lerner back in 2014 in the middle of the IRS thing. It's Jack Smith handling the prosecutions of 2024. It's the FBI and Russia collusion. It's the FBI clearing Hillary Clinton. It's James Comey saying, I think the FBI, that President-elect Clinton, she's not yet President-elect Clinton, is going to be grateful for the way I handled her case. These players continue all the way through this 10-year continuum. And I think that that's what they're beginning to look at.
Oh, I don't know. That's weird because they had the wrong. Interesting. So, anyways, the quote I was looking for, thought it was in there. The media cried witch hunt when the Bolton was investigated, and now we know he had weapons of mass destruction, classified information. WMD classified information was Bolton was sending to his wife and daughter, which were then proxying over to somebody else. Now, Lindley Thompson said this, and I want to reiterate. We did cover this in the beginning of the show, Lindley. If you go talk about this, and so yes, I played part of the clip where General Flynn said that thousands of terrorist attacks are planned within the next 90 days. I think that we're going to prevent it. Just my thoughts, but heads up, head on a swivel. So, Paul Sperry, DOJ insiders are telling him prosecutors have been rolling the SIM public corruption case focusing on FBI headquarters room 9582 and run by the WFO into a broader conspiracy case led by the Southern District of Florida because some of the concealed docs related to the Mar-a-Lago search were the ones that were found in there. Oh. So, mystery of room 9582. Investigators have been combing through access logs to pinpoint who tried to conceal hundreds of pages of incriminating Russiagate documents. So I'm going to pull this one up because this is what this is about, right? The mystery of room 9582. Investigators have been combing through the access logs to pinpoint who tried to conceal hundreds of pages of incriminating Russia docs in a secret skiff at FBI headquarters on the weekend before Monday, January 20th, 2025, Trump inauguration in violation of 18 USC 2071. Okay. 2844. What is the process to enter a skiff? What security level must exist in order to gain entry? Can non-security level personnel be invited to participate? Do logs exist for each designated meeting? Do logs record time in, time out, who in, who out? Ability to enter or range without paper trail? Skiff logs can be very revealing. Hussein's USS code name, Renegade, define Renegade. I think that this is going to become incredibly relevant to room 9582. You heard it here first. Amongst the subpoenas that were sent out this last weekend, former DNI James Clapper hit with Florida grand jury subpoena confirmed by the New York Times, who the deep state's leaker. Clapper was Obama's top spy. He was in charge of the manufactured ICA, aka the Obama dossier, as well as the ousting of President Trump's national security advisor, General Flynn. And so Peter Strzok and Lisa Page were also named in those subpoenas, John Brennan. So, this is what I was going back to for the pipe bomber. Remember I said, and we're going to just switch real quick back to the pipe bomber and come back, that you're never going to believe what was really involved here with the pipe bomber thing, right? We have direct connection, okay, to this woman, Capitol Police, CIA, potentially Nancy Pelosi. But then you got to ask yourself, why is the Select Subcommittee on Investigations seeking questions from Kamala Harris, the Secret Service detail, about the DNC pipe bomber? That's interesting. Chairman Loudermilk sends letters seeking to question Kamala Harris's Secret Service detail about the DNC pipe bomber. Oh, this is going to get good. So, the Select Subcommittee to investigate the remaining questions surrounding January 6, 2021 is conducting oversight of the events that occurred on Capitol and the response to subsequent investigations. During the 119th Congress, we have sought information regarding the discovery of the pipe bomb near the Republican National Committee and the Democrat National Committee headquarter buildings on January 6th. More than 4 years later, there remain more questions and answers surrounding who may have placed these devices and whether federal law enforcement entities have adequately investigated the matter. Given the presence of Vice President-elect Kamala Harris' Secret Service detail at the DNC when authorities discover the pipe bomb, your agents may possess information that is necessary for our oversight and request cooperation in this process. She was over there at the DNC at 11:25 a.m., very close to that time frame. Did they see her? Did they know her? Did they talk to her? Did they allow it to happen? Why was she there? Was it kind of a setup to make it appear as an attack on the vice president-elect? Well, today, Attorney General James Youthmeyer, 39th Attorney General for the free state of Florida, makes this huge announcement. You got to remember, Florida's where it's happening. This is what I'm talking about.
Today, we've sent a letter and launched an investigation into JP Morgan Chase Bank after alarming revelations about their coordinated efforts with Jack Smith and the Department of Justice as part of the Biden administration's Operation Arctic Frost, where we now know Biden officials went after their political enemies. It's come to our attention that JP Morgan debanked Trump Media Group, a Florida-based company, right before the business went public. This is a crucial time for any company, a time where you cannot afford to lose your bank. In addition, we're aware that JP Morgan Bank solicited tons of information from Trump Media, unrelated to their business practices, and we believe provided sensitive banking information to the Department of Justice without real probable cause.
Ouch. That's going to hurt. I think we all understand that that's going to hurt for JP Morgan. What does that mean? Well, it means that the Department of Justice colluded with private corporations, JP Morgan, and weaponized private corporations like they did with Twitter against President Trump. Again, man, it's not looking good for the Democrats, is it? Not looking good for the Democrats at all. All right. Got to pay a little bit of bills here. And we're going to go ahead and do this real quick for my Rumble users out there. Let's be clear. Cryptocurrency is no longer emerging. It's here. And this latest move cements that reality in the biggest way yet. Trump Media Group just inked a massive $6.4 billion deal with Crypto.com, the world's top crypto platform. They're teaming up to scoop up $6.4 billion in CRO, the powerhouse token that fuels fast, low-fee DeFi, staking rewards, and real-world perks like cashback on your spends to launch America's first CRO treasury. When it's done, this new company would be the biggest CRO holder out there. Want in on the action? Head to Crypto.com today and grab some CRO. Let's make crypto great again. And we'll go through here. Just wanted to check a few other things. It's a different screen, so I just have to check a few other things when I'm in here. All right. General Flynn sends a strong message to both indicted former FBI Director James Comey and former FBI official Peter Strzok. Now, this is interesting. I want you to listen to what he says here with Benny, okay? Because you might get some hints of something that I've already told you over the last few months.
What's your parting message to indicted James Comey, who's now making court appearances, and now to Peter Strzok, who is under federal investigation?
Yeah, my shot to James Comey is, James, do the right thing and help save this country, right? If you did something to undermine this country, which it appears that you did, and there's an abundance of evidence, don't try to wait it out because there's some subversives inside of the Department of Justice in various districts that are going to help you out there, buddy. Do the right thing for the future of America. You will then be remembered as somebody who actually did the right thing at the right moment in history, and you took the higher moral high ground to do the right thing and to say the right thing. You know what, Jim? That's what you need to do instead of, allowing your ego and your arrogance to drive you down into the bowels of hell, because that's where you're going to end up.
Wow. Did General Flynn just say that James Comey should rat out the whole deep state? Kind of like what we've already got hints on in comms, that James Comey was going to be the first indictment because James Comey is the one that's going to get the immunity deal, that James Comey is going to string together the whole FISA-gate, Russia-gate hoax for the DOJ and help them. Is that what the 8647 was all about? Was getting the attention of the Secret Service to get in there to say, hey, I want to make a deal before all of this comes out. And he goes out there and gives a testimony, points to the secret skip at the FBI, because it was only after the 8647 post that James Comey did that we learned about burn bags and the skip, the room 9582 at the FBI headquarters, that only James Comey would probably know about. Just saying. What else we got? So, former CIA director John Brennan is in a panic. Brennan ran the Ken Dillian to moan about pain and the financial cost of being investigated. Oh, this is just fucking hilarious. Listen to this.
Even though there's been attempts by Trump administration figures to suggest that newly declassified evidence, casts aspersions on certain things, but that's fantasy. So it's really going to be interesting to see exactly how this proceeds and whether this case ever gets past any grand jury, whether in Florida or somewhere else. But what we do know and what we have reported today is that they are preparing to issue a series of subpoenas, some of which ask questions about the 2017 intelligence assessment, which again has been parsed over and over, and no wrongdoing has been found. And in fact,
Sure.
I reported at the time on the Durham investigation and the pain that CIA officers, for example, had to go through. They had to hire lawyers and go through rigorous questioning by prosecutors, something that no CIA officer wants to experience. And at the end of the day, as you said, John Durham published a report in 2023, didn't lay a glove on that assessment, didn't impugn it in any way. He was critical of the FBI, but not of the CIA. So,
well, hold on a second here. Ken, I got a problem with your thoughts there, because there was the classified annex of the Durham investigation that actually went deep into the ICA, and it brought about the whistleblower complaints from the ICA, which it validated that the ICA was actually was formulated due to the Steele dossier, which was known fake. So you're full of shit there, buddy. What else do we got? Adam Schiff is next. Oh, I didn't pull it up there. I'm not going to pull this one up. So, mortgage applications with primary residence in Maryland and also California. So, Adam Schiff has been found in the same mortgage fraud scam Letitia James and all these others are. Now, here's my problem with this. If you're going to go after Adam Schiff or any Democrats on this mortgage fraud scam, where they're claiming 2 primary residences to get cheaper mortgages, then you need to go after Republicans too. You need to go after Republicans too. This is why Republicans are very silent on it, but you need to go after Republicans too. So this is some good news right here. Actually, I think I wanted to do, where is it? Okay. So President Trump has officially pardoned Republican operatives from the 2020 presidential election, including Rudy Giuliani, Tyler Bowyer, Harrison Floyd, John Eastman, Mark Meadows, Sidney Powell, and many more. Ed Martin is talking about how he is working on freeing Tina Peters. Well, that's interesting. Let's listen to the John Solomon, 55 seconds on this, on Tina Peters.
And I want to turn to something we're going to break right here, right now. I just got this before I came on air. The team will put it on air right now. Remember Tina Peters? She was the election clerk in Colorado that was sent to prison and convicted for her efforts to raise questions about election issues during the 2020 election in that state. Well, today, Just the News obtained this letter showing that the Deputy Attorney General in the federal government is working, Todd Blanche, is asked the Bureau of Prisons to find any way they can legally to move Tina Peters out of Colorado State Prison and into federal prison. Now, that could signal several things. One, they're worried about her safety. Two, that she might become a witness in some future federal investigation. Therefore, having her in federal custody would be a part. We don't know the reason for this request, but we have confirmed that this request has occurred. Breaking news story.
So put that in the correlation with what I just said. Donald Trump came out there and pardoned these other individuals. And Ed Martin is talking about how he's freeing Tina Peters. Todd Blanche goes out to make a request to the Colorado Bureau of Prisons to move Tina Peters to a federal prison. From what I gather, from what I've heard, is that she is going to be a testifying witness in election fraud, and that they want to get her under their protection because she has like the keys to the castle. What she did was not really a crime. She was preserving fraud. This is funny. Representative Jasmine Crockett demands all 50 states abolish Dominion voting machines because she fears President Trump and Republicans will rig the coming elections. So this is comical, okay? I was talking about this at Guard. I said, there's two primary conspiracy theories going on right now in liberal circles. Trump is on the Epstein list, which is getting liberals out there looking into the Epstein list. But then that Trump stole the 2024 election by hacking the machines. Yeah. Now you got dumbass Jasmine Crockett coming out there. Low IQ Jasmine Crockett. 50 states should abolish Dominion voting machines because she fears President Trump and Republicans will rig coming elections. Get rid of them. I'm for it. Get rid of all the election machines. Push them out. Let's all go to paper ballots. I'm cool with that. At the same time, you know what she's going to be calling for next? Voter ID. We need voter ID to ensure that the Trump administration cannot allow illegal immigrants to vote in these next elections. That would be a great conspiracy theory for somebody to start out there, is that the Trump administration is going to use the H-1B program and the Trump's gold card program, the Trump card program, to import immigrants into our country so they can vote Republican. And that he's even talking about bringing in illegal immigrants, only the ones that he wants that'll vote Republican. Because then you're going to have the Democrats step up and ask for voter ID. Just saying. Donald Trump, Republicans should terminate the filibuster. The Dems will do it the first chance they get. He's right. And the shutdown, pass lots of great things and win the midterms. So easy to do. Be the smart party, not the stupid party. And Mike Davis says, fact check, true. Democrats nuked the filibuster on nominations to stack the federal judiciary with Obama radicals. The next time Democrats control the White House, Senate, and House, they will nuke the filibuster on legislation to enact their entire radical agenda. So agree with that. Now, what does that allow us to do? That allows you to pass voter ID. So Lori, no digital ID. Lori, we already have digital ID. It's already here. The Real ID Act already went into a place. You can't go into an airport or a federal building without it. But it also brings rise to voter ID, which kind of a good trade-off, I guess. I want you to listen to Trump's. This is the economic portion of the show.
We're going to issue a dividend to our middle-income people and lower-income people of about $2,000, and we're going to use the remaining tariffs to lower our debt. We're going to be lowering our debt, which is a national security thing. So we're doing a lot of good work. And the numbers were reported so incorrectly. The real numbers are trillions of dollars have been taken in or gotten in terms of investment from the tariffs.
But I want to go back. So he says investment into tariffs. What? Investment in the tariffs. Then listen to what he says about the checks.
Income people and lower income people of about $2,000. And we're going to use the remaining, issue a dividend to...
right there. Did you hear it?
We're going to issue a dividend.
We're going to issue a dividend. Guys, he's not issuing you a check of a return. He's giving you a dividend. As in, he's looking at tariffs as an investment into America. And when there's a surplus, the dividends get paid out to Americans. It's important to remember when we start talking about the new financial system and what is coming up and how this works with the Sovereign Wealth Fund and the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. And we start talking about dividends. Imagine what happens when Intel has a great year or a great quarter and they announce $50 billion of profit when the AI revolution comes about. And then Donald Trump says, great, our 10% ownership is going to distribute those dividends to the American people. What happens when $20 trillion of investment capital flows into the United States of America, builds the infrastructure, the new infrastructure for the technological revolution that's happening right now? That $20 billion turns into a $300 trillion market. And the companies that receive those investments are paying dividends back to the United States of America for securing those investments. That proportionality of ownership goes to the Sovereign Wealth Fund. and then you're getting a dividend check every quarter for that. This is the way you have to start thinking and start looking at it. There we go. This is what I like to hear. You are witnessing the dismantling of the military-industrial complex, and Pete Hegseth just said it out loud.
Today, I'd like to talk to you about an adversary that poses a threat, a very serious threat, to the United States of America. This adversary is one of the world's last bastions of central planning. It governs by dictating in 5-year plans. From a single capital, it attempts to impose its demands across time zones, continents, oceans, and beyond. With brutal consistency, it stifles free thought and crushes new ideas. It disrupts the defense of the United States and places the lives of our men and women in uniform at risk. Perhaps this sounds like the former Soviet Union, but that enemy is long gone. The foe I'm talking about is more subtle and implacable. You may think I'm describing one of the last decrepit dictators of the world, but their day too is almost certainly past. And they cannot match the size and strength of this adversary, nor am I talking about the Chinese Communist Party. The adversary I'm talking about is much closer to home. It's the Pentagon bureaucracy. Not the people, but the process. Not the civilians, but the system. Not the men and women in uniform, but the uniformity of thought and action that is too often imposed on them.
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? The Pentagon bureaucracy, the military-industrial complex. To industry not willing to assume risk in order to work with the military, we must have to wish you well in the future endeavors, which would probably be outside the Pentagon. Let's listen to that part. And if I have a mod on Facebook, please go ahead and delete that if you guys can.
This room today because you don't, to industry not willing to assume risk in order to work with the military, we may have to wish you well in your future endeavors, which would probably be outside the Pentagon. We're going to make defense contracting competitive again. And those who are too comfortable with the status quo to compete are not going to be welcome. To the majority of American industry who enjoy steady demand signals, to the major manufacturers who have built our country and our incredible, exquisite systems, to those of you who are not in this room today because you don't currently do business with the Pentagon, the Department of War wants any and all of you to be a part of our industrial base. We want all comers who are prepared to go at wartime speed.
So
we're committed to being better customers.
So this is actually really good news, I think, in my perspective, is that the Pentagon is basically saying, instead of the top 6 just controlling everything and controlling the flow of money and paying, $970 for a hammer, we are now going to go back and we're going to review all the contracts. We're going to view all the people that have great ideas and small businesses who maybe have potential to work with the Pentagon, and we're not going to discriminate against them, or we're not going to make them go through JVs in order to work with the Pentagon. Instead, we're going to take everybody seriously as a component of the United States workforce. So this is awesome because it's dismantling the power and leverage of the military-industrial complex. So huge right there. Donald Trump, Orban to offer Trump $600 million to buy U.S. LNG over 5 years. Huge right there. Another big oil and gas deal that Donald Trump secured with Orban. We talked about dividends, had that there. And we're going to get into this one. This one's good. I would play the video, but it's in Hebrew. But basically, what we have today is Prime Minister or MP in Israel, Lazimi, rips Netanyahu in the Knesset. I accuse you, Benjamin Netanyahu, of the October 7th massacre. I accuse you, Netanyahu, of funding Hamas and turning a blind eye. Bibi goes stone-faced as MP Lazimi rips him apart in the Knesset. Trump brought back the hostages while you were busy trying to get him to pardon you. Now, this comes a few days after Turkey has issued an arrest warrant for Benjamin Netanyahu and 36 other Israeli officials, accusing them of genocide and crimes against humanity committed in Gaza. Now, this is also crazy because we're just weeks away from the International Security Force, which is being headed by Turkey, entering into Gaza. So imagine this. Turkey is going to have in an international security force training Gazians in their own security forces, working with Jordan and Egypt and a few other countries. But Turkey will be there. Israel's not going to be very happy with this. We have a lot of pressure going out right now between Israel-U.S. relations as well as Israel and the Middle Eastern relations. In other words, Donald Trump has been funding much of the surrounding territories, Muslim Arab territories around Israel. Now, this, I think, is a counterpunch to basically neutralize Israel's influence over politicians in the United States of America as well as the executive branch, but also to help secure the Middle East. If the United States is becoming the defense infrastructure of the majority of Arab nations, Turkey, Egypt, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, then there's no threat to Israel from those countries. Does that make sense? That if Iran is the only odd man out and they're surrounded by American missiles and American guns and American weapons and allies to the United States of America and the Arab and the Jewish side, then Iran is forced into this transitional change of a moment. This is what Donald Trump is playing on the geopolitical front. Just amazingly genius. I was going to go read Laura Loomer's post, but it's not even worth my time. I don't care. She came out with this large rant about the best way to support Israel while being 100% American first is for Israel to be a sovereign and to call for an end to all U.S. aid to Israel. I agree with you, Laura Loomer. You're 100% right. Not because we agree on your reasoning, but I agree with you. This last weekend, snap update, the Supreme Court issued a temporary stay. The federal government can't just create money for food stamps when Democrats choose not to fund the government 14 times and counting. Activist judges have ordered reckless and unconstitutional legal maneuvers because Senate Democrats refuse to upload their duties. So this was really, really interesting because this was Ketanji Brown. This was a Democrat, Biden-appointed Supreme Court justice who ordered this state and made that statement that you can't just create money out of thin air. So you had weaponized judges out there trying to get Donald Trump, forcing Donald Trump to pay SNAP benefits, and a Biden-appointed Supreme Court justice ordered the stay. That's pretty damn good, actually. We talked about the 15-year car loans and the 50-year mortgage. I'm not going to get into that. I had a whole bunch of stuff on that. Let's go into here real quick. See what we got. All right. Do one more bill pay, and then we'll get into the rest of the stuff that I have. Rumble. All right. Looking for smarter ways to browse and enjoy your favorite content without ads? Get the Perplexity Pro bundle with Rumble Premium for just $19.99 a month when you sign up before December 31st, normally a $29.99 value. With Rumble Premium, you'll get an ad-free viewing experience across all your devices and access to exclusive premium content, no interruptions, just the videos and streams you love anytime, anywhere. Plus, Perplexity Pro boosts your productivity in unlimited research, unlimited uploads, exclusive member perks, and access to the latest and most advanced AI models for faster, smarter answers every day. Save 30% on this powerful bundle. Head to rumble.com/premium before December 31st to sign up and unlock your premium experience. I think I froze there for a second, at least it looked like. So supporters of Zohran Mamdani are reportedly developing buyer's remorse after learning that Governor Kathy Hochul will not greenlight his free bus plan or his tax to rich plan. In other words, Kathy Hochul is stepping on the feet of Zohran Mamdani, saying, you're not doing that in New York City. That's not happening. You're a mayor, not governor. Now, I have to look at this in two different ways. One way is I look at it as like Mamdani is an AOC style Republican that not all Democrats want to align with, right? Not all Democrats are like that, but some of them are deep staters that are just not aligned that methodology. But the other part of me is like, this is exactly what they want. Kathy Hochul is done. They know that she can't win a real election, but Mamdani, their new guy, potentially can. And they are setting Mamdani, the next Barack Obama, up for governor of New York State. This is my theory. I'm telling you. So lots of things happening. Lots of interesting things happening. Flynn warning about thousands of sleeper cells that potentially are in our country, which I've been talking about for years. I think that it's a reality. It's an absolute fact that some point in time, these are going to happen. And that's when we're going to have the firestorm type event. I think the Trump administration has negated much of this globally with everything that they've done, with the pre-positioned military around the country, around the world, Navy off the coast of Venezuela, with what they've done in the Middle East, of how they curbed many different nations, including China and the European Union, with tariffs and with economic warfare. And so right now, we are at that moment. So it begins is this kind of idea that we are in the thick of things. The storm front is making sure it's starting to rain and shit's about to get serious. So buckle up, Buttercup. Things are about to get interesting, guys. I appreciate you. You guys are amazing. I love you. You guys are some of the best people out there right here, man, in the chat. I can see you guys. I'm watching 2,200 on Rumble. We got a few hundred over here on Facebook. I wasn't able to catch any of the rants that came in. Sorry if you did give some rants there. I wanted to get 2,000 out there on X. I appreciate you guys. Oh, we got right here. Micro Toolmaker. By the way, I met Micro Toolmaker this last weekend. Dude, you're fucking awesome. You're cool, bro. Appreciate you. Thank you so much right there. Where we go one, we go all. $55 Rumble rant. I want to go through and see if there's any others that came in. I think we had a few that came in originally. And I'm looking, I don't have Alpha software, so I can't go through, but appreciate all the Rumble ramps and all the subscriptions that were donated, guys. You guys are amazing. Everybody on D-Live, thank you for all the lemons. Sorry, I still don't have the D-Live chat in front of me. I'm waiting for D-Live to fix their shit on the platform I use so I can see it. Maybe I'm going to switch over to StreamYard here relatively soon because we don't necessarily do the conspiracy streams anymore, and that would be more conducive, and then we can see the D-Live chat. So I'll try to get that up for you guys too. Much love, respect. God bless. I'm going to leave you with one of the best songs in the world. Hope you guys enjoy it. Take care. Good night. I'll see you tomorrow. That was wrong. Okay. Now I'm going to go. Bye.
There was a time when our children stood tall, hand on their hearts, one voice for all. There was a time when honor had weight, when the flag was a symbol, not a debate. There was a time when our history was known, with pride in the rules that made us our own. There was a time, respect for the brave, for those who bled, for the lives they gave. Now the homeland burns in silent war. Truth is twisted, we can't ignore. Through a time when truth was clear, when the media served, not ruled by fear. There was a time when leaders stood fast, guarding the people, defending the past. Now corruption wears a crown, lies are fed to tear us down. But Q said watch, and Q said see, the silent war will set us free. From the front lines, soldiers stare, wondering if we're still there. Their blood, their hope, their sacrifice will not be sold for a last prize. There was a time, but the time isn't near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, the veil undone. Patriots rise, we are one. Land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on. Or we will spend our sunset years telling our children what it was once like in the United States where men were free.
There was a time, the time is near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, veil undone. Patriots rise, we are one. Land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light. There was a time, there was a time, now is the time. Do it.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation. I want you to get mad.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
The more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
These people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy.
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"